1 in 7 Christians worldwide face persecution for their faith in Jesus. That's about 360 million people. Each year, Open Doors USA publishes its list of countries where Christians face the worst persecution. For 20 years, North Korea has topped the list at number 1. This year, a seismic shift. North Korea is no longer ranked number 1 on the World Watch list. Well, joining us to explain is Open Doors President and CEO, David Curry. David, it's always good to talk with you. So which country tops the list this year and why?
This year, Afghanistan is number 1. It's the number 1 perpetrator of violence and pressure and discrimination against Christians in the world. North Korea hasn't gotten better. Afghanistan's gotten worse. The violence, the tracking of Christians, the killing of Christians. This is, unfortunately, I'm afraid, what we're going to come to expect from Afghanistan in the future.
David, during your press conference, you featured a former Afghan Muslim, now a Christian, who described what is happening there. I'd like to play a short clip.
Yeah, it's very hard when we want to have freedom of faith and freely read our Bibles, freely share our faith. Always there is a big, huge fear in our heart.
And David, you mentioned that Christian women are facing the greatest threat of persecution, but it's not just Afghanistan. Where else are Christian women under attack?
In extremist Islamic societies, women are already discriminated against. But to be a Christian on top of that brings shame to their family and the culture in their minds based on their extreme ideologies. And so then Christian women can be targeted for rape, kidnapping, can be forced into marriages with Muslim men in some of these extremist societies. So you have all of these kinds of violence. In Nigeria, the north of Nigeria, which has 13 states under Sharia law, you have thousands of young girls who are kidnapped with impunity by these extremists in Boko Haram and ISIS-affiliated group, and nothing can be done to help these young girls, or at least very little is being done.
David, I noticed from your top 10 list that 7 of the top 10 are Muslim countries. You already talked a little bit about that, but why is that? What's going on in these other places?
Well, you have some failed states there. You've got a number of things going on. These are tribal regions: Afghanistan, Somalia, Yemen, Libya. These are all failed states that are largely tribal, but they have extreme ideologies, and it's a toxic mixture. But you also have extremists now, Hindu extremists, which are running India, which is why India is number 10 on the World Watch list. So religious extremists and the governments they run or influence now control and are perpetrators at the top of the World Watch list, these countries, these regions. And it makes a difference for us, too, because these are the regions that tip over into greater chaos. Maybe I could use Nigeria as an example. Extremists largely control and influence the north of Nigeria, a democratic country. It's now tipped over into Niger, Cameroon, Chad, Burkina Faso. They're putting together, they're cobbling together a caliphate, and it will have control over oil fields, over massive resources, and potentially launch out terrorism to the Western world as well. So that's what's at stake here.
Yes, that whole Sahel region there. And how concerned are you that Secretary of State Antony Blinken dropped Nigeria from the U.S. government's country of particular concern list? Why did he do that, even though Open Doors ranks it as the 7th worst persecutor of Christians?
Well, the argument on that side of the fence is that the government itself is not doing it, but that's woefully insufficient. We don't see it that way in any other region of the world. The reality is the government of Nigeria, President Buhari, is of the Fulani tribe. Some of these extremists come from that tribal area. They're still extremists. Their ideology is extremist Islam, but he has some sympathy to that. So what you see is the government is not protecting this region, and it means millions of people have been forced to flee to the cities in the south. They have entire villages that are burned to the ground, the Christian villages. As I said, kidnapping of young girls. This region, since 2014, has gotten totally out of control, and Nigeria is just sort of sitting back watching it happen. They're responsible.
So finally, David, tell me, which country is on your radar screen, other than Afghanistan, North Korea? Which one got your attention more so this year than in the past?
I continue to be worried about China at number 17. The violence, the public violence is low. It's why, and of course, it's so high in some of these other places. But their system of control, the surveillance, the blanket of intelligence, using artificial intelligence to target Christians. They're monitoring stuff online. We're estimating, Gary, that 80% of the churches that have met commercially in commercial buildings or public buildings have been forced to fracture into small groups. And then their small group online is being monitored and shut down if that's more than a few dozen people. So that is, I'm afraid, a blueprint that's going to be copied by other countries.
Coming soon to a country near you. Okay, David Curry, CEO of Open Doors USA. I'm assuming the full list is on your website at opendoorsusa.org, correct?
Absolutely. The list, the prayer guide, and the stories.
Okay, thank you, David, for sharing your time with us.
Thank you.